Today is Monday, May the 12th, 2025. You're watching John McEntyre Show live. I did say that right. Yeah, I said that right. Today is Monday. Hope everyone had a peaceful Mother's Day. It was Mother's Day weekend. And so hopefully all of the mothers out there and mother figures, a lot of people, they just say, well, I don't have kids, but they've mentored, they've taught, especially teachers. I think all teachers, even if they don't have their own kids, they've played mothers to thousands of children because they one of the most influential people in their lives. And so that's my belief. I pretty much just say happy Mother's Day to all women because I know they played a mother figure to someone. And so all the mothers out there, I hope you had a peaceful and celebrated Mother's Day. Now, let's get into today's show. But before I get into that, I wanted to make sure and let you know that May is, I didn't make the announcement on the last program, but May is Disability Income Month. It's actually Disability Income Month. And what the average 20-year-old today has 1 in 4 chance of becoming disabled sometimes in their life before they're 65. During their working years, just to put it that way, during their income generating years. And so I've done shows on this before talking about disability income. I've had Andrea on, and we're planning to do another show soon about disability income, going more in depth into it because it really is important. Um, even if you're not, even if you're not the breadwinner of the family. The breadwinner should have disability income, definitely have it. But even if you are, the homemaker, the one that stays at home, the stay-at-home parent, stay-at-home wife, whatever, you should have disability income too, because if you become disabled, you can't do your job, and someone will have to step in to do it because the breadwinner may be working outside the home and they're not able to be, the parent, the homemaker, the dishwasher, the Uber driver, all of those roles, the cook, chef, everything. And so that has to be taken care of. And that's what disability insurance will do for you. And I actually saw a statistic that in America, the median income is 70,000, right around 73,000 a year, something like that. And so they did all of the different roles that the stay-at-home parent or spouse does, and it equaled up to 100 and I think a little bit over $175,000 a year. All of those roles that they played, if they was added up together, it would equal $175,000 a year. That's what they would be paid doing, performing all of those functions of just keeping life going while the breadwinner is at work. And so now we see how important it is. You actually lose $170,000 employee, for lack of a better term, inside the home if they become disabled. So that's why they should have disability income. Like I said, we're going to cover it. I didn't mean to go that deep into it, but that's just how important it is for disability, because it's often overlooked. It's overlooked more often, and that's one healthcare. It is a healthcare insurance, and we all know that healthcare, the lack of healthcare or not enough healthcare, is usually the number one cause of bankruptcies in America. Also, those healthcare costs get out of hand, trip to the hospital, something like that, job loss, no disability insurance, or a job loss, no unemployment income to replace it. Someone becomes disabled, unable to work, lose income, and there we go. It all starts to happen from there. So that's how important disability income is. So we're going to actually do it. We will be doing a show soon here on that. So, and if you know that you need disability income, you may want to talk to someone, you can actually give us a call here. Our information is on the screen. You can talk to Andrea. She will make sure and guide you on that path. Look at your financial situation, look at the full financial picture and help you make the decision from there. It's not just a one size number fits all. It's actually it's math to, it's a math to the method. You know, they say method to the madness. There's a math to the method. And so she's able to sit down and go through all of that with you, look at your entire financial situation, and you may uncover other things. So that's why you may want to get in touch with her. All right. So today's topic, I wanted to make sure I wanted to cover this talking to someone who, you know, they're keeping everything covered. They're keeping everything covered financially. It's just that they're making enough to get by, but they're not getting ahead. And they were basically just sick, you know, they were just tired of the, you know, the merry-go-round, you know, the roller coaster ride. Every month it was the same thing. You know, I'm making all my payments, I'm covering everything, but they knew deep down that this was not going to set them up for a successful financial future, a secure financial future. They knew that, you know, doing this as they were getting older, you know, they were going to have less energy to keep everything up. And so they knew it was time to talk to someone. And so we were talking, and as usual, you know, our first homework assignment when it comes to finances is you start tracking. Just start tracking everything. Track your outgo and your ingo, your income, your income. Track your income as well as your outgo. Income is usually easy. You know, it's most of the time it's set, or if, you know, you're a business person, you know, you're tracking that. Everyone wants to track their income, but it's the outgo that usually, you know, that doesn't get the attention that it deserves. And that's where the problems happen. And so she happens to be the type of, she likes to journal. And that was perfect. I said, okay, well, journal your spending every day. Just journal everything that you're doing and just write it down. If it pertains to money, put an amount there. And so her morning starts like this, 5 days a week, sometimes 7 if she works on Saturdays. Stop by coffee shop, get that morning cup of coffee, buy it. Tip 15%. Okay. Morning, midday, lunch. Had lunch delivered, tipped 20%. Okay. Then lunch on the way home. Most of the times on the way home, she would just stop, do takeout, and do 15-20% tip. Other days when she just didn't feel like stopping, she maybe, you know, worked longer than she wanted to and just didn't have the energy. So she was like, okay, I'll just have something delivered when I get home. Order takeout, have it delivered, tip 15-20%. And so this was 5 days a week, pretty much 5 days a week, morning coffee. And I can understand the coffee. I will not deal with the public. I won't even deal with my family until I've had coffee. I barely would deal with myself until I have coffee. So I could understand that. I said, but every day, and it's not the regular coffee. You know, most people, when they stop by the Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, those places, they're getting more, you know, and we had to be honest. I was like, it was more than coffee, because, well, while I'm here, I might as well just get a breakfast sandwich, or, you know, muffin or something, you know, because I mean, I go inside of one of those places, I have to hurry up and get coffee and put it close to my nose, because if I smell the other things, I'm going to buy them. I mean, I'm human, and I have those weaknesses. You know, food is my weakness. Especially you're going inside some of those places, they do in the pastries and they're baking the muffins and all of this good stuff. So now I feel like maybe I should take it. Maybe I should take my you know, one of my partners something to eat, even though I'm going to eat it in the car on the way. But it was the thought that count. So you really think about that. So that's easily, you know, $7 to $10 easily. And then you're going to tip 15, you know, because these are the people that you see on a regular. So, you know, you want to take care of them. They're working, and they're providing a service, you know, something that's convenient for you. And so you want to make sure, you know, you're not one of those types that when they see you coming, they're like, oh God, they write on the cup, they write on the cup the name of person. They're like, oh God, not him. They don't want them writing stuff like that on your cup. And so you're going to tip. Most of the time with lunch, we're creatures of habit. There's only like 2 or 3 different things we're going to eat. And so we're going to, the most convenient one, probably the closest one, things like that. So we're going to, buy that. And the delivery people, they're going to try to get your food there, and it's, hot and quick and everything, convenience. You're going to tip well. You want to tip them. And definitely in the evening, you definitely want to tip. You don't want to be one of those, what is it, Facebook posts or share one of those IG stories or TikTok stories where, you order $1,000 worth of food and don't tip. And like, why is my stuff here late? And why is it better not be cold? And then don't tip. Well, maybe that's the reason why it gets there slow, because they know you don't tip. So, and I know people that do they deliver for DoorDash, things like that. So you're going to tip. So let's look at this over a day, just one day, that could easily, upwards over $50 easily. I mean, and I'm being conservative with it, because I know when we looked at everything and she was tracking, she ordered $12. This was just the evening, the DoorDash. She ordered $12. By the time her order came out to be $12, by the time, the delivery fee, service fee, tax, tip was added, it was $25. It was over double. So you think about that. That's $25 midday, probably another 15, 20. And so you see, and then the coffee, another at least $10. So you see how that could easily creep up on you. Now, we all know that I like to share wallet wins. And speaking of wallet wins, I forgot to say that. Make sure and share them. Do the hashtag wallet win. If I see it, I will share it and celebrate with you. Wallet wins are those small actions that you take with your finances that adds up to, the big success. It's not like one, unless you win a lottery, most of the time it's just those day-to-day habits that's going to make you financially successful. That's the wallet wins. Now, there is such a thing as wallet losses. Those small things that you do on a day-to-day basis that can actually kill your financial, keep you from achieving your financial goals. And so that's what is going on here. These small, they don't seem like anything large by themselves, but you do that 2 or 3 times every day, 5 days a week, for instance, and let's not count weekends, because that's usually when you really spend the most, because now you're ordering for family. It's not just you, it may be family and friends. You're having people over, things like that, or you go out, and that's when the really big spending happened. But it's basically the same categories. It's those wallet, what I call wallet wins over here to help you achieve your goals. These wallet losses is what can actually kill the budget, because just like I was saying earlier, it's not something major, unless, like I say, you win the lottery, or you receive a windfall, maybe a family passed away, or you're gifted a lot of money. Maybe you receive an inheritance, something like that. That's 10% of the people. Wait a minute, let me see. 80, right around 80 to 85% of the people that have built wealth, they're first generation wealth builders. They built it. The other percentage, it was, insurance, or it was an inheritance, lottery, auto accidents, lawsuits, things like that. That's where the other 15 to 20% receive their, big windfalls from. But the everyday person built it. They're usually the first generation. They built it, wallet win after wallet win. Well, the same thing that built it is the same thing that can destroy it. It's those day-to-day habits that eats away at your budget and your financial future. And it's based off of convenience. It's the small conveniences that does this. Um, as I was talking to this young lady, early in the day, as we talked, she was like, yeah, early in the day, I'm much more conscious of it. But as the day goes on and I'm tired, and I've been in traffic and I'm frustrated, I just want to get home, and I really, don't want to really think about this. I want to think about it. I just don't have the energy. And that's called being a human being. Human beings, as we get more and more fatigued, as we make more decisions, our decisions are not as good as when we're fresher. Early in the day, you make better decisions than in the evening. It's just called decision fatigue. And so in the evening, those small conveniences really become large. They're really very important, because you just don't have the energy to really carry yourself and to do a lot. And so it's not really what you the convenience is not to really save time. Those spendings that you're doing, it's not to save time. You're actually coping. It's a coping mechanism is what it is. You're coping with being overwhelmed by the day, the stress, being stressed out, depleted. You basically, you're emotionally depleted. Everything you what my daughter called, I'm peopled out. You're peopled out by the end of the day. And so you basically, you're just wanting to almost, the brain wants to veg out, sort of. That's basically what it wants to do. Is fatigued. And so you're not making the most sound decisions. You're not making the best decision. You're making the easiest decision. And it's by default. That's what's going on by default. And so that's where your financial future gets compromised, is as you go on and you're more fatigued. And so I said, so what you have to do, you have to get in front of it and just say, okay, these 2 days, these are mostly my busiest days or whatever, so I know that I'm going to probably work late, things like that. Okay. In her case, because she was able to cover, she was covering everything. It's not that she couldn't afford it. It was just like not getting her to her goals. It was keeping her from her goals, and she was frustrated. I was like, okay, so now it's time to say, on these days, I will do the takeout. I was like, I'm not going to tell you not to get your coffee. She came up with the idea, like, I'm looking under my cabinet, I'm looking for something, and I had been gifted a coffee maker, a very good coffee maker. And I was like, well, there you go. You're going to save money right there. Just, and it was the K cup. I was like, there you go. Buy you a million K cups. Now your coffee, your morning coffee has went from $3, $4, $5 down to like $1, less than $1 a day now. So you've saved money. That motivated her. She's a motivated type person. So that motivated, she was like, yes, because everything is convenient. It's not like that's my favorite coffee. So she went and found her favorite coffee, went on Amazon. And I said, okay, be careful. Do Amazon when you're fresh. Don't do it later on in the evening when you're fatigued, because you're going to end up, the shopping cart could be overflowing. You see this and you order this, you order that. And she knew that was true. She was like, yes, because I was like, if you're like me and the people around me, you always keep something in the Amazon cart. There's always something there. It's never empty. Even if you don't make the purchase, you put it there. And then when you go to buy some other stuff, oh, well, it's in the cart, I'll just go ahead and buy it. It's the same thing. And that's another convenience. One-click shopping, I'm much more convenient. And even in today, if you order at a certain time, if you ordered early in the morning, it's there by noon. I mean, hey, you can't beat it. So you really have to get on top of these things. Are they really conveniences for you? Are they really being convenience? Are they worth my financial future? And so, for lunch, she was like, I want to be more healthy anyway. So I could, like, do meal prep on Sundays. I could do my meal prep. I was like, I know people that do that. I live with someone that does that. They meal prep, and I don't see them cooking during the week. I just see them putting stuff together and they eat it. It's quick, everything, a quick snack, quick whatever. I see that happening. It works. It definitely works. So we saw where money was going to be saved there. The lunch, that part taken care of, and we talked about in the evenings. Okay, I'm going to actually do some meal prepping so I can prep some stuff in the evening, and instead of just going home tired, I may just stop by the gym now. I'll just stop by the gym and exercise a little bit, and maybe that, and meet some new people, and like a lot of times you get by yourself, you're at home by yourself, things like that, you falling into your habits, and you're just coping. You're just coping. And a lot of times you don't even know what you're watching. The television is watching you. You've pretty much totally vegged out, or you've fallen asleep, and you've overspent your budget now, and you're not even as healthy as you want to be. So now it's really time to start really looking at everything and asking that question: is this important? Is this purchase important, or is it me coping? That's just the question to ask. Um, was like I say, it's not a big irresponsible decision that will kill your finances. It's all of those decisions during the day, and you have all of these other decisions that you have to make. If you have a family, you have to make decisions for each one of your family members and yourself. You have to make decisions for work. You have to make all of these decisions, and then money is involved in it. And at the end of the day, you're just trying to make it to bedtime, without committing a murder or something like that, or, without having a heart attack, being overly stressed and things. And so that's what will, if you just did that, start tracking. Because a lot of times we've looked at enough finances. Like I say, it's usually nothing major. Every now and then it may be, you bought too large of a home, or, too many, toys and cars, things like that. But a lot of times it's those conveniences. Just look at that convenience there. That's just in the food department. Now, you turn on that television and you have every streaming app known to man, and you're paying, they seem cheap. $9 for an app and TV app. I know it's one of my favorite ones. It's $9 a month, and it pretty much carry me. It's my favorite one. The other ones that's on the television, I really don't deal with them. I know Andrea, she has hers. Bella, she has hers. But me, personally, and we looked at it. We've even shared that with a wallet win. Andrea, she went through and cut and was like, man, it was like over $100 saved, just, like four apps gone, and that's over $100 saved on the month. And I was like, so once we look at it, is it really important? Is it convenience, or are you coping? That's just the question to ask yourself. Is this just me just trying to make it through the day here? Now I'm becoming more intentional, and I'm tying goals together. This lack of spending on all of this takeout food, which is normally not the healthiest decisions. Now I'm cooking more healthier. Now I'm becoming healthier. I'm becoming wealthier. Life is good now. And that's the way this young lady looked at it. And with her being so motivated, I mean, she cut, like, she came back and she was like, yes, I calculated it here. I'm just the evening, just when I just cut the evening part, I just saved $300 a month right there. And I said, that's just the evening. She's just in the evening, the takeout, in the evening, the takeout and delivery, the door dashing and all of that type of stuff. I'm saving three. I was like, oh my goodness, you really are on your well shoe. So she said, okay, based on what I'm cutting now, and that means I can up my contributions to my retirement. This other thing, she was talking about going back to school. I was like, okay, so we need to put money aside for the education, because we know that's not free, and everything. And everything was good. It worked out for her. So hopefully I shared this story that I shared of what this young lady's, just, and it only took her like a month, and she was on it. I hope this story gets you to look at everything much more differently. Just ask yourself, is this stop by? I know a lot of people, I hear it, being a swim parent, practice or the meets are over. It's been a long day, and they're tired and cranky. We're tired and cranky and hungry and all of this, and it's easy to stop. I hear so many of them. You can tell that it's just an automatic response. What are you going to eat? Oh, let's just stop by Chick-fil-A. Nothing against Chick-fil-A. I like their chicken sandwich. But meat to me is not a big value to me. And especially if this it's just their, default. They hadn't even really thought about it. It's not the most nutritious thing for an athlete, and it's just quick. And then they say, that'll be easy. Okay. And put 3 or 4 in the car, and you're doing that 2 or 3 times a week, adds up. It really adds up. So now it's just time to ask, am I doing this for true convenience? Is it truly convenience, or am I coping? That's the question to ask yourself. Do you shop for convenience, or do you shop for coping? So, like I said, hopefully I gave some good information that will at least get you to think about your finances in a different way, look at your spending in a different way, and make some changes that will start to pad that retirement, that education fund, that whatever the other things that's more important. Hopefully that will take it. And if you want to talk to us more in depth about your finances, see our information is scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Contact us for that no obligation meeting. Talk with Andrea. She can look at every area of your finances. I mean, from the basic, from the budget up to the investments, up to the retirement, the estate planning, all of this. We can take care of all of it. We can handle it. So that being said, tune in. Will I be back tomorrow? I should be back tomorrow. Yeah. Like the old folks said in the country, Lord willing, I'll be back tomorrow. Same time, same channel. Have a good day.